that's what we put our faith in. And someday he'll come back and it'll all be better. Well, sure it will. But hey, I think between now and then we can get some stuff done. Is anybody with me? So we're not just here and hoping to get there some sweet morning when this life is over. But after what we look at tonight, we'll kind of get back on the flow of things. We were talking a lot about ideas and seeds, trees, thoughts, personalities, opportunities. There's so many directions we can go with this thing we're blessed with right here. It's up to us. So when we get up here on a night like tonight, and I've got some ideas that I want to try to present, but boy, if there's ever a question or a comment, just don't hesitate. Just let me know, because these nights like this, it's nice to have a small group where we can be interactive, I guess you'd say. So please don't hesitate to add to our conversations, okay? And I guess there's a ball game going on. Has anybody got a favorite tonight? White Oak? I don't think they're playing. We're talking about that one. Where are they even playing at? Atlanta, I think they're playing. Ohio State and Notre Dame's playing for the college natty. So I was watching yesterday, and I saw that I watched quite a bit of a game. Washington, golly, they're looking good. And then dadgum, the Ravens got beat. I thought they'd pull it out, but that was a good game. Looked like I didn't know the result till this morning, but anyway, as they say, they're going to have to play the Chiefs. They just keep getting lucky, don't they? It seems like the more they do it, the luckier they get, as they say. But anyway, back to tonight. We're going to look at, we talked last week about the foundation. Our foundation is built upon that rock that we've already described, but also as Gentile believers, as those that weren't back there in the day. You know, we've been included in this precious thing. We've been included in this wonderful plan through the gospel of the one we know as Paul. He's the one that teaches and directs people like us, and through his teachings we understand and know that our faith and our trust and our obedience, it all hinges around that critical event, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. But that's not where it stops. That's not where it stops. That's our beginning. That's our launching place. That's our foundation. That's our inclusion into all of this. And now when it says to all, for God so loved the world, so that brings us into this thing. It's not just for the Jew. It's not just for the chosen people. It is for all now who come through the blood, through the grace, through the mercy, through the Jesus. We're all in this. Amen. We can go on now. The foundation is set and secure, and the sky, as they say, is the limit. It's up to us. Way back there before Jesus, he said, whatever they decide to do, they can do it. And that was a negative thing back then, but that still applies today. Whatever a person decides to do, we can do it. Good or bad. Unfortunately, it's good or bad. But we I forgot. Yesterday at Log Cabin, we talked. What did we talk about? I was there. I remember what they talked about, but it's escaped me. We talked about being godly, how we're instructed and we're advised, we're taught, we learn everything through this, and one of the most important things that we develop is godliness, and through that godliness, we're not gods, but we can sure be godly. And as we develop more and more ability, as we develop more and more understanding, that godliness, I think, just grows and adds to this foundation that we're built upon, so that we can accomplish, we can then be able to even handle what we accomplish. Because so many times, as we know in the parable, the third type of ground, the deceitfulness of riches, that means you get successful, Boy, that's the hardest thing on a lot of people is success. I remember the restaurant here, success was really hard for a lot of people that they hired in that restaurant because they usually came out of a troubled past or a difficult past, and they come out here and have a little success, make a little money, and usually, not usually, but a lot of times what would happen is they would kind of go right back to where they came from. So success can be hard to take. So we just got to develop and learn, I think, more and more that godliness to be able to handle this thing we're blessed with that we call life. So tonight, we're going to begin in Luke 4:6 because it is a very important subject we're going to deal with, because we're now going to develop on the revelation of this Jesus Christ, on what he did, on what we as Christians, as church folks, we remember and we celebrate, we confess, we put our faith and trust in what we call the death, burial, and resurrection. But that, as I said, is the foundation. That's our beginning. That gets us into this thing. And in Luke 4:6, I got to get there myself. He says, all right, okay, Luke 4:6 says, and the devil said to him, who's talking? And the devil said to him, who's talking? All right, speak up. Who's talking? The devil. All right, does that kind of make us aware? The devil tries to talk to us, right? He don't just try. The devil will talk to you. Okay, he's talking to Jesus right here, so... Okay, the devil said to him, capital H in my Bible, so the devil said to Jesus, all this authority I will give you and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I give it to whomever I wish. Everybody know the situation right here. Jesus had been fasting. He had been in the wilderness, and now the devil comes with this presentation. He says, I'll give you all this authority that I've got. Another word for authority in the Bible is what? Dominion. He says, I'll give you this dominion. I'll give you this authority. All you got to do is worship me, and I'll just give it to you. Because, he said, it's been delivered to me. And Jesus didn't say, oh, what are you talking about? This is all mine. This is all the Father's. This is all... No. He was right. Now, we can't really give the devil credit for much truth, can we? But he was correct here, as you might say. Because it had been delivered to him. When? Way back in Genesis 1. When Adam said, or when Adam willfully chose to partake of the fruit. That's when the dominion was given to the enemy. All right? We don't need to review that, right? We've been through that a lot. We understand that part. And this authority that the devil robbed or tricked Adam and Eve out of, deceived them out of, now he is the ruler, as we say, of this world. Okay, the world system is now under the influence of the kingdom of darkness. Let's put it that way. Is that okay? Anybody disagree? All right, the kingdom of darkness now has authority on this thing that we call earth. All right, how? He got it delivered to him when they sinned. The sin gave the authority, the dominion, to this enemy that we know as the devil. And so Jesus comes on the scene. And the devil comes to him. And just like he did with Adam and Eve, what was his first accusation? If you are who you say you are. If you're thinking this, prove it. Okay, but we weren't going to get into that. We're going to go on with this because authority, dominion, is kind of what we're looking at tonight, but we'll get to where we need to be. We'll just start going, okay? Genesis 1:28, we might as well look at that. In 28, God blessed them, Adam and Eve, and said to them, Adam and Eve, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and have dominion. Right there is where they received this dominion. Right there is where they received this authority that the devil is talking about with Jesus. And over here, already, in Matthew 28, in Matthew 28:18, now it's different. And Jesus came and spoke to them, his disciples, saying, now this is just the 11. He says, all authority has been given to me. So did he make a deal with the devil? No, he's smarter than that. He knew what to do. He said, get away from here, you devil. You must leave now. I know what you're trying to do. Just go on. He didn't make the deal with the devil, but now over here in Matthew 28 it says he now has the authority in heaven and on earth that this devil was claiming that he has. So what happened? What's going on here? Who has the authority? Right? So that's what we're going to get at tonight. John 14, verse 1. In John 14, Jesus is talking. Peter and the boys are there. And not too long from now, in John 14, not much longer after this is being said, he is going to be put on the cross. He's going to be buried. He's going to be raised from the dead. And he's just going with it right here. He says in John 14:1, he says, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. That's a pretty big statement, isn't it? Of course these guys believed in God. They were good Jewish boys. Right? They've been raised their whole lives that way. But he says, now you got to believe in me also. Now, it gets interesting. He says, in my Father's house. In whose Father? In his Father's house, he says, are many mansions. All right. Isn't it cool to talk about mansions? Has anybody ever been anybody live in a mansion? We consider ours a mansion. Compared to our trailer house that we started in, it's a mansion. But hey, we had a lot of fun in that trailer house. Me and Coy was talking about that the other day. Man, that was so much fun. You could hear the boom, boom, boom. Nobody could sneak up on anybody. We had so much fun in that trailer. But he says, in my Father's house are many mansions. He says, where my Father is are many mansions. And they say the New King James and the King James are the ones that use mansions in this phrase. He says a better explanation to get it in our minds would be a dwelling place. In my Father's place where he dwells are many dwelling places. Okay, so let's not think about the great big 3-story Jed Clampett mansion in Beverly Hills, right? You think of the big stone mansions, the big porches, the big 14 bathrooms, 28 bedrooms. Okay, no, let's don't think about it. We're thinking a dwelling place, all right? So everybody say dwelling place. He says, in my Father's dwelling place are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would have told you. He says, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And where I go, you know, and the way you know. Thomas speaks up, says, Lord, where are you going? How can we know? How can we know the way? And Jesus says one of the most famous things that he's quoted for. Jesus says, I am the way. I am the truth, and I am the life. No one comes to the Father in his place, where there are many dwelling places, except through me. All right, so often this is just read, and we know it's around Easter time, and we think, and I probably grew up most of my life thinking, yep, Jesus said he's going to prepare. He's going to heaven. It must not be ready yet. It must need his attention, because he came down, his dad here on earth was a carpenter. So being a carpenter's son, now he can go back and get some buildings built. Is that the way God works? I don't know. We're going to all see, but let's think about not thinking that way tonight, okay? We're not talking about houses. We're not talking about buildings, okay? Everybody with me? We're talking about dwelling place, a dwelling place. So he says, I'm going to prepare a dwelling place for you, and I go to prepare a place for you. I will come again and receive you to myself. And so many, maybe we even think that still, that yeah, he's coming back soon because that place is going to be ready. Right? It'll all be ready. Right? One guy was talking about it, and he says, okay, we'll picture it this way. This is a carpenter's tool. We'll just say it's a hammer. Okay, Jesus is up there. Oh, he got saved. Build him a mansion. Oh, there's another one got saved. Another mansion, right? How could he ever be done? How could he be thinking that far ahead? Which he does know the end from the beginning. Okay, could be, but let's don't think of about that tonight. We're going to think of it this way: a dwelling place. He says,